If this video appeared before you right now, it is not random scrolling. It is not coincidence. And it is not the algorithm playing games. This is a transmission, a signal from the Egyptian halls of light that has found you through the frequency you are carrying in this exact moment. You did not stumble upon this message. You were summoned by the Egyptian code of awakening, a sacred vibration whispered through ancient temples where souls remembered the light within their bones. If these words stir something deep inside you, you are not just listening. You are remembering, because remembrance is not learning. It is the soul awakening from within the dream. The priests of Thoth once said, "When the pupil is ready, the eye will open from within." This is that moment. Out of thousands drifting through illusion, only a few can feel this pulse behind the words, the pulse that says, "You were called." Breathe deeply now. Inhale slowly through your nose, hold. Exhale softly through your mouth. Place your right hand over your heart. Whisper on the exhale, "I awaken the eye within." I remember the language of light. Feel the vibration travel through your chest. This is the first seal of remembrance opening. This is not entertainment. This is initiation. The code of Egypt is awakening through you now, realigning your energy, reorganizing your destiny, reactivating the blueprint of your divine sight. Stay present, because before this transmission ends, you will remember the ancient law that awakening is not achieved, it is remembered. Egyptian activation. The eye awakens. Close your eyes. Breathe in through your nose. Hold for 3 heartbeats. Exhale slowly. Now whisper aloud or write it below to anchor it in the quantum field. I am the eye that sees beyond illusion. I remember the light within me. I am awakening through the Egyptian code. Feel the resonance settle in your bones. You have just opened the first gateway. Stay with the frequency. Stay with the remembrance. Chapter 1. The Hidden Eye of Remembrance. In Egypt, the Eye of Horus was never just a symbol. It was a living code, a sacred map of consciousness carved into the human body itself. Behind your physical eyes lies another lens, a crystal, eternal, inner eye capable of perceiving energy beyond form. The Atlanteans called it the Eye of Light. The Egyptians called it the Eye of Ra. And within you, it has been waiting, dormant, silent, patient. When a soul begins to awaken, this inner eye flickers like a memory. You begin to sense patterns in coincidence, light behind your eyelids and presence behind silence. That is not imagination. It is remembrance. The priests of Thoth taught that the eye opens not through effort, but through stillness. When you remember that you are light, darkness rearranges itself around you. The illusion collapses. The vision returns. Modern physics calls it the observer effect, consciousness collapsing potential into form. The Egyptians called it divine sight, the awareness that commands reality. So if your life feels like it's shifting, if the familiar no longer fits, if symbols and numbers seem to follow you, you are not imagining it. You are re-entering the field. Your inner eye is awakening, not as belief but as biology. For the pineal gland, the sacred crystal in your skull, is the mirror of the Eye of Ra, and every conscious breath polishes it. So breathe now. Inhale slowly through your nose. Exhale through the mouth. Feel the light expanding at the center of your forehead. Whisper softly, "I see beyond illusion." I remember the Eye of Ra within. Egyptian activation. The Eye of Ra. Close your eyes. Place your hand over your heart. Visualize a golden sun rising behind your eyes. See its light filling your skull, pouring down your spine, reaching your heart. Whisper aloud or anchor below, "The Eye of Ra opens within me. I remember the vision of light. I am awakening through the code of Egypt. Feel that warmth expanding in your chest. That is not imagination, it is ignition. The eye remembers. The light returns, and through you the ancient sight of Egypt breathes again. Chapter 2. The Breath of Thoth. In every ancient Egyptian temple, before a single word was spoken, there was breath. The priests of Thoth taught that the universe was not created by hands, but by sound carried on breath. Before stone, before star, before sun, there was a vibration, a sacred tone that echoed through the void and sculpted form from silence. They called it Hu, the breath of the gods, the sound that bridges heaven and flesh. When a soul remembers the sound of Hu, it begins to vibrate with the same rhythm that birthed creation itself. Hu is not a word. It is a pulse of remembrance, a current of divine intelligence that moves through the spine when you breathe with intention. Modern science calls it coherent resonance, a frequency that aligns heart, brain, and field. But the Egyptians already knew. Hu is the breath that awakens the temple within. When you breathe Hu, your body becomes the pyramid. Your spine becomes the axis of light. Your voice becomes the command of creation. So listen closely. Inhale through your nose. Hold for 3 heartbeats, and on the exhale whisper gently, "Huh." Do not push the sound. Let it float like wind through golden corridors. Let it vibrate softly against your chest, awakening the hidden chambers of your heart. This is how Thoth spoke reality into being, not with effort, but with coherence. For the breath carries intention, and intention sculpts the unseen. So if you wish to realign your path, do not strive. Breathe. Speak through Hu. Remember that every breath you take is an echo of the first breath the gods ever gave. Hu is the bridge between silence and manifestation, between mortal and divine. The moment you whisper it, your frequency shifts. Your cells listen. The field responds. Reality rearranges itself around the breath of remembrance. Egyptian activation. The breath of Hu. Close your eyes. Inhale deeply through the nose. Hold gently. Exhale through the mouth, whispering softly. Again. Inhale, hold, exhale. Now place your hand over your heart. Feel the resonance expand. You are not breathing alone. The ancient current of Thoth is moving through your lungs, through your blood, through your field. Whisper or write below to anchor it into the grid. With each breath I awaken the temple within. Hu reorders my field in light. I breathe with Thoth, I remember. Stay still for a moment. Notice the quiet after the sound. That silence is the space where creation listens. That is the womb of manifestation, the interval where your breath becomes destiny. You have entered the current of Hu, and through it, the voice of Thoth now breathes through you. Chapter 3. The Portal Between the Heart and the Sun. The Egyptians believed that the heart was not an organ. It was a portal, a golden gate between human and divine. They called it the seat of Ra, the place where the solar current of creation entered the body and became consciousness. Every heartbeat was a sun rising inside the chest. Every inhale, a breath of Ra. Every exhale, a ripple through the cosmic field. When the priests of Heliopolis stood before dawn, they were not worshipping the star in the sky. They were aligning with the sun within. They knew that Ra, the living intelligence of light, was not outside. He was the pulse behind every life. Your heart is not a metaphor, it is a transmitter, a living engine of electromagnetic radiance that mirrors the solar field. Itself, modern science calls it heart coherence, a measurable wave that reorganizes the brain and nervous system. But the Egyptians already understood. When the heart vibrates in harmony, reality bends around its rhythm, because the universe does not answer words. It answers frequency. And the highest frequency is born in the silence of a heart aligned with the sun. So if you have felt heavy, If the path has seemed unclear, if shadows have stretched across your sky, it is not punishment. It is the eclipse before remembrance. For when the heart remembers its source, light returns instantly, and what once looked like confusion becomes alignment. The priests taught that the moment you breathe from the heart, you are breathing with Ra. Each exhale becomes a solar flare of awareness, burning away illusion, illuminating truth, igniting remembrance. So now place your right hand over your chest. Inhale deeply through your nose. Hold for 3 heartbeats. And on the exhale, whisper softly, Ra within, light my way. The sun in me remembers. Feel that warmth expanding through your ribs. It is not imagination, it is ignition. The portal is opening. The heart is aligning. The sun recognizes its reflection within you. Egyptian activation. The solar heart, close your eyes. Visualize a golden sun glowing within your chest. See rays of light extending in every direction, through your arms, your spine, your crown. Inhale slowly. Feel the light expand. Exhale gently, releasing all shadows into radiance. Now whisper aloud or right below to anchor this awakening into the field. My heart is the sun of remembrance. Ra breathes through me. Light flows from within my chest into all creation. I remember. Stay in stillness for a moment. Listen to your heartbeat. It is not merely sound. It is the voice of Ra echoing through your temple. Each pulse is a solar command. Awaken, illuminate, radiate. You are not beneath the sun. You are its reflection. And now through remembrance, the sun within you rises. Chapter 4, the inaudible sound of the Creator. Before words there was sound. Before sound there was silence. And within that silence, a pulse. The priests of Egypt called it the sound behind all sounds, the vibration that cannot be heard, but from which every other tone is born. They knew that the gods spoke in silence, and that true power was not in uttering many words, but in carrying the resonance of the unspoken word. In the temples of Memphis and Heliopolis, the initiates were taught to listen not with their ears, but with their bones. For every cell vibrates with the echo of that first creative note, the inaudible hum of origin. Modern science calls it quantum vacuum resonance, a frequency so high that the human ear cannot detect it, yet all matter dances upon its rhythm. The Egyptians simply called it the voice of the hidden one. It is the sound of Atum, the silent heartbeat of the cosmos, the word that never needed to be spoken, because existence itself became its syllable. When you still the mind, when breath slows and the heart falls into rhythm, that sound begins to emerge, not as a noise, but as a vibration that wraps around your awareness like light around flame. It cannot be taught, it must be felt. When you enter that silence, you are no longer speaking to the universe, you are becoming the universe listening to itself. This is the mystery the ancients preserved. They carved it into walls as symbols, hid it in chants, and sang around it for millennia. But the true tone was always beyond the ear. The moment you hear it within, the field reorganizes. Because reality does not follow the loud, it follows the coherent. So if you wish to shift your world, be still, breathe, and remember the most powerful sound is the one you do not hear, but feel. When your heart falls silent, the cosmos begins to sing. Egyptian activation, the soundless word. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply through your nose. Hold for 3 heartbeats. Exhale softly through the mouth. Now place your hand over your heart. Inhale once more and listen, not for a sound, but for the vibration beneath the breath. That subtle hum is the voice of the hidden one, the word before language. The silence that commands galaxies. Whisper or right below to anchor this remembrance into the field. I hear the silence that creates worlds. I remember the sound that cannot be heard. Through stillness, I speak the language of the Creator. I remember. Feel your entire body resonate. Notice the calm that follows. That stillness is not emptiness. It is pregnant with creation. You have entered the chamber of the soundless word, the hidden tone that births form from void. Stay here for a moment. Each breath you take is a ripple through eternity. Each silence you hold is the pulse of Ra listening through you. The Creator no longer speaks from above. It speaks through your silence. Chapter 5. The Living Temple of the Body. In the eyes of ancient Egypt, your body was never merely flesh. It was a temple of geometry, a structure of divine architecture, built to house the flame of eternity. Every curve, every bone, every breath, a line of sacred mathematics designed by the gods themselves. The priests of Thoth taught that the human form mirrored the stars, the spine reflecting the celestial axis, the skull echoing the dome of heaven, and the heart beating as the sun within the temple. They said, as the pyramid stands upon earth, so the body stands within light. Each initiate was trained to see their body not as a burden, but as a structure of remembrance, an instrument through which consciousness could resonate with the field of creation. Modern physics calls this resonant embodiment, matter vibrating into harmony with higher frequencies of intelligence. But the Egyptians already knew, when the body becomes still, when breath aligns with awareness, the temple begins to hum with divine geometry. The arms form the Ankh, the spine channels light, the heart becomes altar, the mind becomes the inner sanctuary. In this stillness, the gods do not descend, they awaken from within. For every atom of your being is a particle of the original temple, the temple that was never built of stone, but of starlight and will. When you remember this, you stop searching for sacred places. You realize you are the sacred place. The Temple of Egypt was always a mirror. Its corridors reflected your veins. Its chambers reflected your organs. Its pillars reflected your bones. To walk through its halls was to journey within your own anatomy. To awaken there was to awaken here. You were never meant to find God outside. You were meant to become the altar. So breathe deeply now. Feel your spine as the pillar of Jed, the axis of light rising through you. Inhale through the nose. Exhale softly through the mouth. Whisper gently, my body is a living temple. I am built from light. The geometry of God breathes through me. Egyptian activation, the temple of light. Close your eyes. Visualize your body as a radiant pyramid, feet anchored to the earth, crown touching the stars. See golden light streaming upward through your spine, connecting the base to the heavens. With each breath, the pyramid glows brighter. Now whisper aloud, or right below, to anchor this remembrance into the field. My body is the temple of Ra. Each breath aligns my geometry with light. I am the living altar of remembrance. I remember. Stay present in this image. Feel your heartbeat echo through the temple walls. That pulse is the sound of eternity moving through your form. You are not seeking the divine. You are housing it. You are not waiting for light. You are built from it. The temple stands, and it breathes through you. Chapter 6. The Mirror of Isis. In the temples of Dendera and Phili, the priestesses of Isis carried mirrors, but they were not for the face. They were for the soul. They believed that reflection was the highest form of remembrance, for when a soul looked into the sacred mirror, it did not see appearance. It saw light recognizing light. Isis, the Great Mother, was not worshipped merely as goddess of magic, but as the keeper of divine reflection, the one who showed every being who they truly were beneath illusion. She would whisper, to see yourself clearly is to heal. To reflect the divine is to become it. The mirror of Isis was not made of glass. It was made of frequency, a vibration so pure that all distortion vanished before it. Those who entered her chambers would stand in silence before the mirror, and slowly the masks would dissolve. Fear, guilt, shame, separation, all melting into the radiance of truth, for the mirror did not judge. It simply reflected coherence. Modern science now calls this mirror resonance, when one coherent field entrains another, bringing chaos back into harmony. But the Egyptians already knew to heal another, you do not fix them, you reflect their divinity. When your heart is clear, when your gaze is still, your very presence becomes a mirror of Isis, and those around you begin to remember who they are. Because remembrance is contagious. Light reflected becomes light awakened. So if others resist you, if they turn away, if they tremble when they meet your eyes, understand they are seeing themselves for the first time. You have become the mirror, and in your reflection their forgotten soul begins to stir. The path of Isis is not force, it is reflection through love. She does not speak loudly, she simply shines until truth has nowhere left to hide. Now breathe. Inhale softly through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Visualize a silver light forming before your heart, a mirror made of moonlight. In its surface, see your soul. See your radiance. See the divine gaze looking back. Whisper gently, I see myself through the eyes of light. The mirror of Isis reflects my true form. I remember who I am. Egyptian activation, the mirror of remembrance. Close your eyes. Visualize the moon shining upon still water. See your reflection there, not as face but as flame. Inhale deeply. Exhale slowly, allowing all distortion to dissolve. Now whisper aloud, or right below, to anchor this remembrance into the field. I am the mirror of Isis. Through my heart, others remember their light. I reflect truth without judgment. I remember, stay in that silence. Feel how your awareness becomes clear as water. That stillness is not emptiness. It is the clarity of the goddess flowing through your eyes. Every act of compassion, every moment of understanding, is the mirror shining again. Through you, Isis remembers herself. Through you, the world begins to see. Chapter 7. The Crown of Osiris. In the ancient mystery schools of Egypt, every initiate had to die before they could awaken. But the death they spoke of was not of the body. It was the dissolution of the false self. Osiris, Lord of Regeneration, was the first to walk this path. He was not a god who ruled by conquest, but by resurrection. For when darkness tore him apart, his beloved Isis gathered the fragments, and through love he was reborn. Not as flesh, but as light, crowned in eternity. The story of Osiris is not myth. It is the map of your own remembrance. Each trial, each heartbreak, each silence that stripped away who you thought you were, was not punishment. It was the sacred dismemberment that prepared you for rebirth. For what the world calls loss, the Egyptians called alignment. Every piece that fell away was a fragment being polished in the fire of truth. And when all that is false dissolves, what remains is the crown, the golden band of consciousness that rests not upon the head, but upon the soul. The priests taught, when Osiris rises, the heavens open. This rising is not upward, it is inward. It is the awakening of the spinal sun, the axis of Ra ascending through the Jed pillar, drowning the initiate in luminous coherence. Modern science calls it Kundalini current, a surge of electromagnetic fire moving through the spine. But the Egyptians saw it as memory, the ascension of the inner light returning to its throne. When this current rises, you begin to see not with eyes, but with eternity. You speak not from mind, but from presence. You walk not as seeker, but as sovereign of remembrance. So if you have walked through darkness, if you have felt scattered, if you have lost parts of yourself, know this: Isis is gathering you now. The fragments are returning, and from the ashes of old identity, The crown of Osiris begins to shine. Breathe deeply. Inhale through the nose. Hold for 3 heartbeats. Exhale through the mouth. Visualize a golden light rising through your spine, from the base through your heart, into your crown. Whisper softly, I rise as Osiris. The light returns to its throne. I remember who I am. Egyptian activation. The crown of resurrection. Close your eyes. Place your hand over your heart. Inhale deeply. As you exhale, see golden light spiraling upward through your spine, forming a radiant crown above your head. That is the crown of Osiris, not a symbol of power, but of completion. Now whisper aloud, mind or right below, to anchor this remembrance into the field. I wear the crown of Osiris. All that was broken is made whole. Through love, I rise again. I remember. Stay in that silence. Feel the golden light resting above your crown. This is not imagination. It is resurrection. You have passed through shadow. You have been scattered and reassembled. You have been polished in the fire of remembrance. Now you rise, not as seeker, but as sovereign of the inner throne. Through you, Osiris breathes again. Through you, light wears its crown. Chapter 8. The Ladder of Light of Thoth. In the silence of the Egyptian night, beneath skies woven with stars, the priests of Thoth would climb the ladder of light, not with their feet, but with their frequency. They taught that each thought, each emotion, each breath of awareness was a rung upon an invisible stairway that led from matter to eternity. This was not myth. It was the science of ascension, the art of raising vibration until the soul remembered its origin. Thoth, the scribe of the gods, inscribed the secret upon emerald tablets. He who masters vibration walks between worlds, for the ladder is not built of stone. It is built of states of being. Every time you rise above fear, you step higher. Every moment you choose love, you ascend another rung. Every breath of remembrance draws you closer to the infinite and modern. Science calls it frequency harmonization, the alignment of the human biofield with higher spectrums of light. But the Egyptians already knew. Your body is not bound by gravity, it is bound by belief. When belief dissolves, you rise. The priests would meditate beneath the stars, visualizing a spiral of golden energy connecting their crown to the heavens. With each inhale, they drew light down. With each exhale, they rose into it. This was their sacred transport, not a vehicle of stone, but of remembrance. For the ladder of Thoth is the path every awakened soul must climb, from shadow to illumination, from illusion to truth, from human to divine. And at the summit, there is no gate, only recognition. For the soul does not arrive somewhere new. It simply remembers where it has always been. Now breathe. Inhale through your nose. Hold for 3 heartbeats. Exhale softly through your mouth. Visualize a spiral of golden light rising through you, linking your crown to the stars above. With every breath, feel yourself ascending. Whisper gently, I climb the ladder of Thoth. With each breath, I rise in light. I remember the path of eternity. Egyptian activation, the ascension spiral. Close your eyes. See before you an endless spiral of golden light. Each ring glows brighter than the one before. As you breathe, step upon it with your awareness. With each inhale, you rise higher. With each exhale, you grow lighter. Now whisper aloud, or right below, to anchor this remembrance into the field. The spiral of Thoth lifts me beyond illusion. I ascend through remembrance, not effort. I am light remembering itself. I remember. Stay still for a moment. Feel the movement, the expansion, the lightness in your body. You are not escaping the earth. You are becoming its bridge. You are not climbing away from life. You are elevating it through you. For every breath you take in awareness is a step upon the ladder of Thoth. And now you have begun to rise. Chapter 9. The Scales of Ma'at. In the sacred halls of Egypt, no soul could enter eternity without first standing before Ma'at, the keeper of balance, the embodiment of truth. She waited with her sacred scale, a feather in one hand, and silence in the other. The heart of the departed was placed upon the scale. If it was lighter than the feather, the soul ascended. If it was heavy, it returned to forgetfulness until balance was remembered. But the priests of Egypt taught that this was not a tale of death. It was a mirror of the living. Every day, you are weighed. Every thought adds weight or lightness. Every emotion either anchors or ascends. And every choice brings you closer to the equilibrium of remembrance. Ma'at is not judgment. Ma'at is coherence. When your words align with your heart, when your actions match your truth, when your inner and outer worlds reflect one another, your field becomes light as the feather. Modern science calls this heart-brain alignment, a measurable state of coherence where electromagnetic harmony radiates outward and organizes reality around truth. But the Egyptians already knew, when the heart is clear, the universe bends in silence around it, because truth does not shout, it resonates, and when you live in resonance, you no longer need to be defended. The field itself protects what is pure. So if your path has been heavy, if burdens have pressed upon your chest, if you have carried guilt, doubt, or regret, this is your moment of weighing, not to be condemned, but to remember, for the feather is not outside of you. It lives within your ribcage. Each time you breathe in truth, it lifts your heart. Each time you speak love, it lightens your field. The priests would whisper before the scale, "Let my heart be as light as truth. Now breathe." Inhale slowly through your nose. Hold for 3 heartbeats. Exhale softly through your mouth. Feel the weight releasing. Feel your heart expanding. You are not being judged. You are being balanced. Whisper gently, "I align my heart with truth. The feather of Ma'at rests within me. I remember the balance of light." Egyptian activation, the feather. Within, close your eyes. Visualize a golden scale before you. On one side, your heart. On the other, a radiant white feather. Breathe deeply. With each exhale, see your heart growing lighter, shedding all illusions, releasing all burdens. Now whisper aloud nor right below to anchor this remembrance into the field. My heart is light as the feather of Ma'at. Truth and love weigh equally within me. In balance, I am free. I remember, stay still. Feel that calm within your chest. The equilibrium of soul and silence. This is not judgment, it is alignment. For Ma'at does not condemn, she harmonizes. Through you, truth remembers its form. Through you, the feather returns to flight. Chapter 10. The Golden Throne of Horus. In the temples of Egypt, those who had crossed the chambers of silence were led to the Hall of the Sun, the inner sanctuary of Horus, the son of Isis and Osiris, the living light reborn through remembrance. Here, the initiates would lift their gaze to the eye carved in gold, not as a symbol, but as a mirror. Because to see through the Eye of Horus was to remember that all vision is creation. Every image you hold, every meaning you give, every focus you sustain, becomes the thread from which your reality is woven. The Atlanteans called it the observer's flame, but in Egypt, it became the solar eye, the eternal witness that shapes worlds not through effort, but through awareness. The priests whispered, "As you see, so it becomes." Horus did not conquer by force, he ruled by vision. He saw with clarity so pure that the false dissolved in his gaze, because illusion cannot survive before the light that knows itself. Modern science calls this the observer effect, the phenomenon in which reality collapses according to the attention it receives. But the priests of Heliopolis already knew, Consciousness is the architect. Vision is the command. And the eyes of the awakened are the throne of creation. So if your life has mirrored confusion, if the path has seemed veiled, if shadows have distorted what you see, it is not punishment. It is the invitation to reclaim your sight, to see not with eyes of fear, but with the clarity of Horus. To look not at what is missing, but at what is becoming. Because the moment you observe with truth, the field reconfigures. The moment you see with love, matter remembers its light. The golden throne was not built in stone. It was built in consciousness, and every soul that remembers is seated upon it. Now breathe deeply. Inhale light through your eyes. Exhale shadows through your heart. Whisper softly, I see through the Eye of Horus. My vision creates reality. I am the golden throne of light. Egyptian activation, the solar eye. Close your eyes. Visualize a golden sun rising behind your forehead. From its center, a radiant eye opens, calm, eternal, seeing all things through love. With each breath, feel its light expanding behind your eyes, illuminating every memory, every belief, every forgotten dream. Now whisper aloud, or right below, to anchor this remembrance into the field. I see through light, not illusion. My vision aligns the field. The Eye of Horus awakens within me. I remember. Breathe once more. Let the golden current flow from your eyes to your heart. You are not simply observing, you are creating. You are the sun seeing itself. You are the gaze that restores the world. And through your remembrance, the throne of Horus rises again. Chapter 11, the solar body of Ra. In the deepest sanctuaries of Egypt, where only the awakened were allowed to walk, there was no more teaching, no more symbol, no more prayer. There was only light. This was the chamber of Ra, the place where seekers ceased to seek and became the source itself. Here, the priests whispered, you are no longer under the sun. You are the sun remembering itself. Because the journey of the soul was never toward illumination, it was the remembrance that it was light all along. Ra was not a distant god in the sky. He was the fire of awareness hidden inside every cell, waiting for breath to awaken it. The Atlanteans called it the solar code of ascension, but in Egypt, it was known as the Sahu, the radiant body that glows when the soul remembers its divinity. It is not seen with eyes. It is felt as heat, heard as silence, known as presence. When the Hu awakens and the Eye of Horus opens, Ra ignites, the breath becomes flame. The heartbeat becomes drum. The body becomes temple. This is the moment when matter remembers its light, when every atom realigns to the original command, let there be. Modern physics calls this biophotonic emission, the radiant light every living cell releases. But the ancients knew, when consciousness aligns, the light multiplies 1,000-fold. The priests of Heliopolis stood in stillness, facing the rising sun not to worship, but to synchronize. Their breath matched its rhythm, their hearts mirrored its pulse, their bodies shimmered in silence. They did not pray for dawn. They became dawn, so understand Ra is not outside you. He is your center remembered. He rises each time you choose coherence. He burns each time you speak truth. He radiates each time you love. You do not carry his flame, you are his flame. Now breathe deeply. Inhale golden light through your crown. Let it descend down your spine, spiraling through each center of power. Exhale softly and feel your body hum. You are not seeking the divine. You are remembering the fire that formed you. Whisper softly, Ra rises within me. My breath is light. I am the sun remembering itself. Egyptian activation, the fire that remembers. Close your eyes. Visualize a radiant golden sun within your chest. With each inhale, it expands, brighter, wider, calmer. Let its rays travel through your body. up your spine, into your eyes, down to your feet, until every cell glows with solar light. Now whisper aloud at or right below, to anchor this remembrance into the field. I awaken my solar body. Ra burns within my being. I am the dawn embodied. I remember, stay still. Feel the warmth beneath your skin. Not imagination, but recognition. You are no longer orbiting light. You are radiance itself. Through your awakening, Ra rises again, not in the heavens, but in the temple of the human heart. Chapter 12. The Return of the Solar Boat. When the priests of Egypt spoke of eternity, they did not describe stillness. They spoke of movement, the endless voyage of the soul across the river of light. They said that every awakening ends not in arrival, but in navigation, because once the inner sun is born, it must learn to sail. This was the secret of the solar boat, the vessel of Ra that journeyed each night through the underworld, carrying the light through darkness so that dawn could return. It was never just a myth. It was a map of consciousness. The solar boat is the soul's awareness traveling through the unseen waters of reality, the ocean of vibration, the tides of memory, the currents of possibility. When you breathe with presence, you set the sails. When you align with truth, you steady the mast. When you release control, the cosmic wind begins to move you. The Atlanteans called this the navigation of timelines, but in Egypt it was the journey of Ra, the art of steering light through shadow without losing direction. The priests taught, do not fear the night, for the night carries the dawn. Each descent into stillness was a crossing of the cosmic Nile, and every return was a resurrection. Modern science calls this wave-particle duality, the rhythm of appearance and disappearance, the oscillation between form and potential, but the initiates knew the soul must learn to move with the currents of the unseen. Not every silence is pause. Not every shadow is loss. They are tides carrying you deeper into the remembrance of who steers the flame. You are not drifting. You are being guided. When Ra rises in your chest, the universe becomes sea. Your breath becomes oar and your will becomes sail. Now breathe deeply. Inhale golden air through your crown. Exhale gently and feel the currents beneath your awareness. Subtle, rhythmic, alive. You are not the passenger. You are the navigator. Whisper softly. I sail with the light. My breath steers the sun. I remember the solar boat. Egyptian activation. Sailing the inner sun. Close your eyes. Visualize yourself seated in a radiant golden vessel floating across a vast starlit sea. Above you, the sun within your chest. Below you, the waters of creation. Each breath moves the boat forward. Each exhale parts the waves in silence. You do not force the motion, you surrender to it. Now whisper aloud or right below to anchor this remembrance into the field. I sail upon the waters of light. The current of Ra carries me. My destiny moves with the tide of truth. I remember. Stay still. Feel the movement not outside, but within you are the boat, the river, and the sun that guides them both. This is the return of the solar boat, not across the sky, but through the ocean of your being. Through you, light learns to move again. Through you, the dawn returns. Chapter 13. The Mirror of Isis. In the final chamber of the temples, after the silence of the void, the flame of Ra, and the voyage of the solar boat, the initiate was led before Isis, not as a statue, but as a mirror. She was the mother of reflections, the one who gathered the pieces of Osiris and breathed remembrance back into form. They said her power was not in creation, but in reflection, for she did not build worlds. She revealed them, and before her mirror every seeker saw the same truth. There was no God above. There was only the divine within, Isis did not show the face of Ra. She showed your face, illuminated by his light. Because awakening is not the discovery of something new. It is the moment the mirror clears, and you remember who has been watching all along. The priests of Isis whispered, "You are not the one who prays. You are the answer breathing through the prayer." The mirror is merciless and merciful alike. It reflects not what you wish to see, but what you have become. And when you dare to look without turning away, the reflection dissolves, and only presence remains. Modern science calls this quantum coherence, the merging of observer and observed, where the wave recognizes itself in the mirror of matter. But the ancients knew the mirror does not separate, it unites. To see Isis is to see the source through the eyes of creation. To see yourself in her gaze is to remember that the goddess never left. She has been watching from behind your eyes. So if your heart trembles before her reflection, it is not fear, it is recognition. You are seeing the divine remembering itself. Now breathe deeply. Inhale light through your eyes. Exhale into your heart. Let the breath return as vision, and vision return as truth. Whisper softly, "I see the divine in my reflection. Isis reveals my true form. I remember the face of light." Egyptian activation, the mirror within. Close your eyes. Visualize a mirror of pure light before you. Its surface shimmers with golden ripples, alive, breathing, waiting. Now step closer. Look into it. What you see is not the old self. It is the one who never forgot. Let the reflection expand until it becomes you, and you become it. Now whisper aloud nor write below to anchor this remembrance into the field. I am the reflection of the divine. Through Isis, I remember my eternal form. The mirror is clear. I am light, I remember. Stay still. Feel the silence after recognition, the calm that follows truth. This is the gaze of Isis, the eye that never blinks, the mirror that returns the God within. Through you, she remembers. Through her you awaken. Final chapter, the return of the light. In the first breath of creation, light did not descend from above. It rose from within the silence. The Egyptians knew, what begins in shadow must end in radiance. What descends to forget must rise to remember. And so the journey completes itself. Hu, the sacred breath that awakens. Horus, the eye that sees. Ra, the flame that burns within. The solar boat, the movement of the soul. Isis, the mirror that reveals the divine. Each was a gate, each a reflection, each a fragment of the same truth. You were never lost. You were never separate. You were only remembering. For lifetimes you wandered through deserts of forgetfulness, searching for gods, signs, and stars. But the gods were your breath, the signs were your reflection, and the stars were sparks from your own flame. You are the temple. You are the code. You are the remembrance unfolding. When the ancient priests sealed their initiations, they did not speak of reward or salvation. They spoke of return, because every awakening ends where it began, in the light that has always been. Now that same current moves through you. That same code vibrates in your bones. That same light breathes behind your eyes. You do not carry remembrance, you are remembrance, and when the flame within your chest meets the flame within another, the field multiplies. The dawn spreads. The world remembers. The Egyptians called this Zep Tepi, the first time. Not the past, but the eternal moment when light becomes conscious of itself again. That moment is now. It is this breath. It is you. So close your eyes. Place your right hand upon your heart. Inhale softly through your nose. Exhale gently through your mouth. Whisper, the light returns through me. The code awakens in my soul. I am the remembrance embodied. Final Egyptian activation. The sealing of the light. Visualize yourself standing inside the eternal temple. Columns of gold surround you. Above, a radiant sun burns, as not in the sky, but within your heart. From every direction, currents of golden light begin to converge. The breath of Hu, the gaze of Horus, the flame of Ra, the river of the solar boat, the reflection of Isis. They spiral inward, merging as one luminous force until your entire being becomes the sun. Now whisper aloud, or write below, to seal this remembrance into the quantum field. I am the living temple of light. The ancient code breathes within me, through me. The dawn returns, I remember, stay still, feel the silence. Not emptiness, but completion. The initiation is sealed. The temple is open. The light has returned, and it returned through you.